It is now my pleasure to call upon Dr. Hayes to deliver the commencement address.
Thank you for thinking enough of me to allow me to speak to your students tonight. I fully understand as an educator how that is not a decision that we enter into lightly. We don't just put anybody in front of our students. So I am so incredibly honored to be here. I received a call a few months back from Dr. Stranges, and in the course of the conversation, he said to me, "I want you to come to Niagara University to deliver the commencement address, but not because you've been named the Teacher of the Year. I want you to come because you live a life of service and are committed to instilling that in your students." I teach in Waterbury Public School System at John F. Kennedy High School. This is the same community where I was educated and the same city where I grew up. It is a Title I district and the 4th largest urban public district in Connecticut. Much of what comes out of my district is not anything to be proud of. Students have learned by reading newspaper and watching the news that they don't have value. I wanted them to leave me knowing that that was not true and that was not all they were. I wanted my students to know that no matter where they were in life, they had the ability and the capacity to serve. So I really looked at education from a very different perspective. My job was to build knowledge and character. My students in the Waterbury Public School District have completed over 4,000 hours of community service. This is not a requirement. Habitat for Humanity, the St. Vincent de Paul Shelter, Relay for Life, the Walk for Autism, you name it, my students have done it. Institutions like Niagara University illuminate the values of service and commitment to others. So again, I am so honored to be here. I have no wisdom to impart to the graduates. I try to avoid that because each of your paths will be different. I can only share what I have learned, and hopefully I will leave you inspired and encouraged, and in some way more aware of the gifts you already possess. This year has been so incredibly humbling for me. I was not ready to be used in this way. If you've heard the term, "it takes a village," I am the poster child for that statement. Sometimes we falsely assume that children come to school with all the tools necessary to learn. That is not the case. Everything I learned about school, I learned at school. I was raised by my whole generation. My mother was an amazing mother until the point where she wasn't, where she struggled with abuse, and my father was not a part of my life. So my grandmother stepped in to raise my brother and I, and along with a host of aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, and friends, an entire community, they raised me. I was a tremendous student. I loved school. And by the time I was a sophomore, I had secured a 4-year full-ride scholarship. But being smart is not enough these days. There was so much going on in my life and the world around me that it was almost impossible for me to stay focused. As you heard, I grew up in the largest, most dangerous housing project in the Waterbury City. For me, it was easier to get drugs or a weapon than it was to get a library card. I always wished that I could move out of this neighborhood, but my family was on public assistance, and I realized that that really wasn't possible. In high school, I became pregnant, and everything that I had planned suddenly disappeared. I was stuck, crippled by the fear and shame of falling into the stereotype that I promised myself would not happen to me. But then one day I woke up and I said, this cannot be my real life, and I enrolled in the community college. I was a little embarrassed to start at a community college because I had been such a good student. But I was steadfast. I just wanted to learn. I finished my associate's degree, went on to get my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and a 6-year degree in educational leadership. People ask me over and over, how did you do it? I don't even know how I did it. Scholarships in Jesus. I just wanted to finish. I carry all of those experiences with me, and I thank God for the struggle. I thank God because He took me on a circuitous route to get here as a way to show me exactly what my students need. I am their voice. As a teacher, I see the same cycle in my students, and I am determined to show them that they have value no matter what their circumstances are or how many mistakes they make. They too can achieve anything they dream. I am determined to show my students that they don't always have to be on the receiving end of aid. They can be the givers. I am determined to engage the village, churches, schools, businesses, families, anybody who cares anything about kids, to help me do my job better. Education saved my life, and I will use it to save the lives of as many students as I can. Every obstacle that I faced was in preparation for this assignment. If you had told me when I was a student in high school, barely graduating, that I would be named the 2016 National Teacher of the Year, I would have never believed it. But God had a different plan for my life. I am wrapped in grace and humility, and I want to give back in a way that thanks all of the people who stood in intercession for me, who provided me hope when I didn't even believe in myself. You never know how your kindness will impact another person. I am the student that many of you go out and volunteer with. I live in the communities that many of you here at Niagara University have gone out to serve. But God had a different plan for my life. When I got the call from Washington, D.C., that I was selected as the 2016 National Teacher of the Year, I didn't know what else to do. So I opened my Bible, and I turned to the book of Esther. And anyone who reads the Bible knows that this is a very tiny book, and if you flip too fast, you'll miss it. But I went right to Esther 4:14. Perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this. This time, my job, my assignment is to be of service, to use my voice and this platform to open the doors for young people in similar situations. No matter what family they were born into, or what community they come from, or what obstacles they may face or not face, my job is to show them that they have value, to ensure that they are not marginalized. Every child is entitled to the promise of education. I want to give young people the keys to open any door they desire and remove the shame and stigma of growing up poor. Teaching is my gift. Yours may be different, but the charge is the same. Be of service. Bill Clinton once said to students at the Sidwell Friends School, "Much has been given to you already, and a lot more is coming your way. You owe it to yourself to give something back, to help build a society and a world where more people have your chance to live out their dreams. But it's all in God's timing. I am committed to using all of the obstacles, failures, and disappointments that I've faced in my life to help improve the life of someone else. So my advice to you, graduates, as you wait to be called into your assignment is threefold. First of all, embrace failure. I wish someone had told me this earlier. Sometimes the struggle is just preparation for something greater. You are gifted with ability and inability. You will not be great at everything. And when I finally realized this, it was liberating. Enjoy this moment. You're graduating, your family is here, everyone is celebrating you. But the countdown to the call from Sally Mae begins the minute your degree is conferred. You will feel pressured to find a good job, utilize the degree you have worked so hard to obtain, and become productive adults. Don't let reality stop you from being afraid to try. I have failed more than most teachers have tried. Expect to mess up. I took a very non-traditional path to get here, but I'm here, so it counts. My path was marked with roadblocks and detours, failures and disappointment. But there was the point that I decided to learn from my mistakes, to find something positive in every situation, and thank God anyway. Don't let a fear of failure paralyze you. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have a great job. You don't have to have lots of money or even recognition, but you do have to at least try. If you don't succeed, try again. God will cover your inabilities with divine providence, and in His time, you will receive the blessing that He has for you. But in the meantime, be grateful for His grace and His mercy, and thank God anyway. No matter how unfair it gets or it may seem, remember that most of us are far better off than if we only got what we deserve. God has already given you more than you deserve. The second thing I would say to you is, be the best you that you can be. There's a children's book that I love. The title is Last Stop, Market Street. The book is about a little boy named CJ. And every Sunday after church, CJ and his grandma ride the bus across town. But on this particular day, CJ wonders why they don't own a car like his friend Colby, and why he doesn't have an iPod like the other boys on the bus. He wonders how come they always have to get off in the dirty part of town. I identify with the questions that CJ is asking, but every question that he asks is met with an encouraging answer from his grandmother, who helps him to see the beauty and the fun in their routine and the world around them. Don't waste your life or your time comparing yourself to those around you. You will meet so many people that have problems for your solutions. Don't let them block your blessings. Live the life that you were given and find the beauty in your situation. One of the things I love most about being a teacher is that I have a front row seat to the future. I see in real time when my students realize the greatness they possess, the power in their potential. But know that the price of greatness is responsibility. Your generation sees the world in a way that mine could not even fathom. And the secret to my joy is knowing that you are equipped to change the world. The blueprint for that looks very different, but it feels the same. You will be the architects of the policies that will ensure social justice for the next generation. Barack Obama once said, "Change will not come if we wait for other people or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." I wanted to do my part to change my community, so I started with myself. You already possess what God has need of. You were born with it. The world is just waiting for you to release it. Do not let it escape your lips that you are not worthy. You are blessed and highly favored. Your gift is unique and different from the person sitting right next to you. The assignment that God has for you is just for you. Don't compare yourself to others. Be the best you that you can be. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, be of service. Live a life of purpose and responsibility. Everyone has a responsibility to do their part to improve the human condition. It's not about looking around you to see what other people are doing, but looking in a mirror to figure out what you can do. You be the change that you wish to see. My gift is teaching, and I use that as a medium to be of service. At the point where I saw the value of nurturing empathy, the trajectory of my career changed. For years, I watched as students work hard and took pride in their achievements. Don't get me wrong, winning feels really good. But let's not forget that it is of no benefit to anyone if you achieve high grades and tremendous academic success if you have no desire or knowledge of how to help others. My life is different because of all the people who helped me, all the people in my school and in my community who were of no relation to me but just saw something in me, saw a light, and wanted to contribute to my success. You have a responsibility, whether it's sharing your time, your knowledge, or your resources. Remember, it is a privilege to serve. Not everyone has the ability or the capacity to do so. The sooner you realize that your gifts are not your own, the more fulfilled you will be. Use this education to improve the world around you. People have often asked me why I believe I was selected as the 2016 Teacher of the Year. There are 3.5 million public school educators in this country, and I was selected to represent them all. I know it's not so much what happens in my classroom, but I believe that it's the commitment that I've made to extend the learning beyond those walls and into my community and compel my students to be of service. It has been the honor and the privilege of my life to serve children and switch my world around from being the receiver to the giver. The world will not give you awards for participation. You have to stand out, be different, and separate yourself. Live your lives in a way that benefits others. Leave everything you touch better than the way you found it. Let the impact you have on others carry you through your journey. Let the work that you've done speak for you. That's how you separate yourself. Remember why you chose your professions, and don't let that passion ever leave you. The world needs your gifts, your talents, your service right now. Embrace failure, be the best you can be, and be of service, because your gifts are not your own. They were given to you by God to be shared with the world around you. Everyone will offer you advice. Everyone will have a plan for your life. My story is not your story. Your parents' story is not your story. Listen to the people around you, but remember that ultimately you have to be the person that God made you to be. You have something that only you can give to the world, and one day your time will come. You will be called into your assignment. You will be chosen for such a time as this, and you will recall all of the lessons that you learned here at Niagara. With this education comes a great responsibility. You have a responsibility to stand up for the people with no voice, for the kids who need someone to speak out on their behalf, for the parents who want what's best for their kids but don't know how to articulate that. You have the responsibility because you know better. Just as the founders of this institution and so many others did for you and for me and people like us, we have to go forward and do the same for young people. Don't stop at admiring the hard work and impact of great leaders. Strive to be more like them. History is defined by those committed to changing the narrative. I can ramble off a list of motivational phrases that are appropriate closings for a commencement address, but I recognize that success looks very different for each of us. Create your own happiness. Take your place in history, shoulder square. Find a theme song and put it on repeat, over and over in your head. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Whatever it takes, whatever you need. God has already equipped you with everything necessary to do the best job that you can. You will end up exactly where you were meant to be. So don't trample the flowers on your path in order to be the first to get there. Stop, smell the roses, pick a few, and even more, plant a few. Each of you is the benefactor of an education that has prepared you for personal and professional success while emphasizing service to the community. You have the spiritual, social, and leadership values necessary for success. Take that with you when you leave this place and plant a little bit of Niagara with everyone you touch. Everywhere you go, leave a little piece of who you are and what you've learned. But not just that. Don't just volunteer in communities. Empower people to help themselves. I can tell you, nobody wants to be poor. Nobody wants to be the receiver all the time. Help people understand that they have the ability to improve their own outcomes. I have faith that you will do that, and I am encouraged by what is to come. Congratulations to the class of 2017. And on behalf of me and students like me and communities where I come from, thank you for all that you've done for kids, for all that you've done in communities, and all that I know you will do. Good night.